In 1994, I moved from Cleveland to Las Vegas. The main reason was Corky and Lenny's restaurant, where I've been working for 20 years in Cleveland, finally closed their doors at their Senior Center location. And a friend of mine out here in Vegas said, if you ever need a job, give me a call. I'll find a job. I got a job for you. So I called his bluff, and it turned out it wasn't a bluff. He did bring me out here to Las Vegas to work at the Stage Deli in Caesar's Palace. And we got a house. My wife joined me. She also was working there. I had since quit. I'm now managing a Stage Deli in the MGM, which is owned by the guy that owned the Caesar's Palace Stage Deli. It's a long, confusing story. But suffice to say, we're both making a life out here in Las Vegas. We've been here about 26 months now. Had this house for almost 2 years. Matter of fact, this is our 24th month in this house. We love it. And it's funny, again, one of the major considerations when we were house hunting was, how big will the video room be? And what we're using here is what was a den, which the people actually use as a bedroom, which began as a front porch. But it's a huge room. It's actually more square than oblong. Got a real big walk-in closet, and I got plenty of space here. So I had the video room. So that was 1994. Again, the video room was the main concern when we looked for a house. It was kind of funny. But Mickey, being as good-natured as she is, was very, very sympathetic about that. In 1994, I taped my last wedding for money. Like I said, it was a friend of my daughter, Kay, and I have that still to this date on video. In 1995, I taped my last wedding, ever, probably, and that was my daughter, Coral, and that was in April. In fact, to date, that's still the last time I've been in Cleveland to do her wedding. I also did the ultimate video letter intro. That's something I haven't touched on yet. Beginning, I think, in 1978, Gary Decker sent me a video letter. And what's a video letter? That's when you do what I'm doing. Is you sit in front of a camera and talk to the camera, but you're talking to a person. And he sent me this thing, introduced himself, and I thought, what a great way to communicate. How novel. And we've been doing this since 1978, even to this day, almost 20 years later. And every couple of years, I would do an introduction to this letter, showing either the different video machines I had at the time, or showing computerized graphics, or how his life and mine have intertwined. Well, I did the ultimate video letter intro using the Videonics mixer, and that took about a month to do. It was an enormously big task, which was like my ultimate video creation, and I'm probably showing bits of it right now. I took each year that we had known each other, beginning in 1975 when video began, showing some of the machines that were out, showing what I looked like back then, what he looked like back then, major snowstorms, the presidents who were in power back then, whatever. And that was a lot of fun to do, but also a lot of work. 1996 was actually another milestone year. I went even deeper in video when I got my satellite receiver. I got a DSS satellite dish this year in February. I got the Sony system. I like Sony products. And I've had more fun with that thing than I ever imagined. I am taping movies literally day and night off this satellite dish, mainly to see the movies and also to test old tapes. I've inherited about 3 or 4 beta collections. People just dump their tapes on me for nothing. And I'm testing the tapes. Some of them are good, some of them are wrinkled and bad, whatever. So this is the way to test tapes. I'm only paying about $2 a day to have over 100 channels, all of perfect quality on this satellite dish. And I have to admit, after having the dish for about 4 months now, they do give you what they claim. The video quality is very, very good. It's not grainy. The contrast, the picture quality, everything is right there. The picture to me is a little bit soft, and the color is a little bit soft. But other than that, unless you're really a nitpicker, it's an excellent picture. The audio quality is just as good. Many movies today are done in surround sound, and of course I had to get a surround sound receiver to go with the satellite dish. That came a month later in March, and I haven't even paid for it yet. So right now, in 1996, I have gone to surround sound and the digital satellite system. And that's where we stand in 1996 on June 14th, my 20th anniversary in home video. By actual count, I have 1,698 tapes, 2 tapes shy of 1,700, and that does not include my Star Trek collection. So I've probably got close to 1,800 tapes in this video room. I've got a couple odds and ends, just in the way of notes here I have not gotten to, but I like to do it at this time before this tape runs out. I allowed myself 1 hour for this. And the time is going very, very fast as I reminisce. Over the years, I spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on video repairs. I put my video machines through hell. I use them a lot. And over the years, I put in probably a dozen video heads on these machines. The older machines were belt-driven, so I had to rebelt them every couple of years, and just general maintenance and all that. A lot of repairs on my Betas over the years. Less as time goes on. It seems the newer machines that are direct drive and all that have fewer mechanical parts and they're more electronic, are not as prone to wear and tear as the earlier machines were. But I spent a lot of money over the years on Beta repairs. Between 1977 and the present, I have every New Year's Eve Times Square ball dropping on video. Proud of that. Haven't missed a one. I discussed video letters briefly with Carrie Decker. This is something, probably my deepest involvement with one individual has been the video letter, which Carrie and I still do to this day. About 4 or 5 times a year, maybe even less sometimes, because we're both getting busier as the years go on, it seems. We sit in front of the camera and talk about our lives. And we do this in front of a camera like this, mail the other guy the tape, put on dubs at the end of what we got off TV recently or whatever. And it's just been going on for so long, it's become a way of life. It's become part of his life, part of my life. It's funny because Carrie and I have only met 4 times in person. We met in 79, 88, 89, and then in 91 he got married for the second time, and I had the privilege of taping his wedding. And that was a lot of fun. But since 91, we have not seen each other in person again. We talk on CompuServe a lot. That's something I have not touched on at all because it's kind of a peripheral of video. I got into computers in the late 1980s. Now I have to say late 1970s when I got my first Atari computer. But Carrie and I talk on CompuServe, which was an online service all the time, at least 5 or 6 days a week. I have to mention, I have a note here that in 1988, when I visited Carrie in Orlando for the second time, not with Mickey that time, just myself, we had one all-night dubbing session that was... We got so overtired that night, it was incredible. Carrie got me a hotel room at the Park Inn, which I guess used to be like a Sheraton or Holiday Inn. It was kind of nice. We rented about 24 videotapes at a local video store and dubbed them all in one night. And we had, I think, either 2 or 4 VCRs going that night, and that was really crazy. But we had a great, great time. I have a note here. I have watched my kids grow through video. Now, when I got married in 1980 to Mickey, she had 5 kids, which of course she still does. The youngest was 6 years old. Her name is Coral, and I've watched her grow up on video through the years. And I guess I used part of these spots when I did her wedding video to the tune of "Daddy's Little Girl." When we had the father and bride dance, father and daughter dance. I interspersed the dance with bits and pieces of Coral on video as I shot her from like the early 1980s up to the present time, just to show how she has grown and matured and all that. And that, it brings tears to your eyes because it's just so emotional. It's better than a snapshot. It's, you see people moving and talking and laughing, crying, whatever. You see the emotion, and it's really, really great. So you can watch your kids grow up through video, as I have found out firsthand. I've had some home movies transferred. I think in 82 or 84, thanks to my friend Carrie Decker, movies of myself when I was weeks old. My dad was an avid photographer, and he was very handy and very often with a movie camera in his hand. And he shot a lot of myself and my brother and sister, my family as we grew up and all that. And I must have sent Carrie Decker maybe 20 rolls of film, which he transferred to videotape for me back in the early 80s or mid-80s. And to this day, it's still in my video collection. So I can, thanks to the magic of video, watch myself grow up also. Thanks to my dad's photography over the years. It's also great. I also have on tape, thanks to video, college Star Trek production that was done in 1971. What had happened was I was taking a course in TV production, and the final exam was to do a 5-minute TV pilot. Since I met Gary Herman that year, I began to be a real aficionado of Star Trek. So we did a Star Trek 5-minute pilot. And I had the foresight, even back then in 1971, to have it videotaped. So we did it on some kind of Ampex open reel format, which I guess Ohio State still uses to this day. So what I had done, my brother transferred the open reel Ampex tape to a U-matic tape. Then from the U-matic, I had that transferred to a beta tape. So here in 1996, I can see what I did back in 1971 video, which to me is just incredible, spanning so many years.